It's a tad cold here today. My Porsche is actually steaming. How cool is that? Icy Stradale. Good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another day here in Ferrari land. You join me en route to Maranello Classic Parts in my courier van that makes this kind of noise. Check this out. Anyway, sounds good. Make every journey count. Apologies for that, let's try that again. Welcome back to the channel everyone. There was a tunnel, it can't be helped in a car like this. You just have to nail it. So, I am en route to Maranello Classic Parts over in Egham, Surrey, here in the UK, to see my good friend Mark Bell, who is the absolute guru on Ferrari parts. He's worked for Ferrari for as long as I can remember, and what he doesn't know about Ferrari parts is just not worth knowing. So, we're going to see Mark. Hopefully Mark is going to be able to hook me up with all the bits that I need to finish or fix the 308 cam sprocket down the bottom there. Hopefully we can get that sorted out while the engine is still in the car. Also, I'm going to be getting a few bits to service the 348. So let's go and see Mark, see if we can get those bits and progress the project. See you in a sec. The Aladdin's Cave for us car geeks, Maranello Classic Parts. So we're just out of Maranello. Unfortunately for you guys, as Ferrari junkies, I'm not allowed to film in there because it is like heaven. You've got every single kind of Ferrari part in there, from old 60s Ferraris to modern day, and they're just fantastic because every single bit that I needed today for both of those cars, I didn't pre-order it, they've got it there on the shelf. So really cool. I'm going to go back now and just double check before I go to the car that we've got everything there. So I'll see you again in 2. I have got the bits from Maranello. So this is my new little nut to go on, and it's got the 4 pins, so you need a special tool. Now I could either buy a tool from Hill Engineering or various places, and it's the cheapest I can find is about 50 quid, or I'm going to see if I can make one today. So I've got a 22mm socket here, which cost me £3, and I've got my Dremel. So we're going to mark it up and just cut away and see if we can make those 4 pins to go on there. Let's see how we get on. So I started to roughly mark it up. I'm going to do one cut at a time just to be sure, and each time I'll measure it up against the little nut again. Just going to use my Dremel tool and just slowly cut away. So it's time to get some power tools out. Angle grinder. One, two. I give you, it's not the prettiest one, but as long as it does the job, we're cool. There you go. Forks are probably a little bit longer than I needed, but that was the second attempt, by the way. I had to use the angle grinder. The first one, I stupidly measured wrong and chopped one of these off, so I faced it off again, flattened it, and went a bit lower. £3. There you go. The money I just saved making that 4-prong socket myself was £50. This I bought as well for the job. So the money I saved paid for this. This was exactly £50. So got myself an impact wrench, and hopefully now I've got all the tools for the job. So before I go ahead and attack that job on the 308, I just want to give you a quick update on what I've spent on parts and special tools in order for me to do that. So first of all, I did a lot of research on the forums. There were all of these tools were recommended in some shape or form. So first one is a small bearing pulley kit. Now this is vital in order for me to draw that pulley out of the car. Now a lot of people on the forums recommended, and again that was already a cost saving, there was a kit the same as this from a company called Draper here in the UK, and that was roughly around £50 was the cheapest. This is exactly the same, looks exactly the same content, but it is in a red case. It's not made by Draper, and it's £24. Okay, so £24 so far. Next, I brought a slide hammer with a bearing puller on it, as you can see. Again, might not even need this, but I've always wanted a slide hammer, and who knows, it might come in handy. I don't want to keep repeating, going over there and trying various things. Like I say, I want to go at it all guns blazing. So that was £20. These are not quality snap-on tools, by the way, but hopefully they should do the job a few times. So that's that second one. I bought a little cheap bearing puller kit. That was £12. All of these, by the way, came from eBay. Okay, then next one was obviously my impact wrench. So hopefully that should have enough oomph in it to get those nuts off the car. £50. Then obviously my next major one was this £3 22mm socket, which I've ground down to make into hopefully the tool that will take that special nut off. So the 4 prongs there, £3. Okay, so total tool spend was £109. Now, like I said, chances are I am not going to need that slide hammer and maybe half of those bearing pullers, but I'd rather have them for that kind of price than to keep having to readdress the job. Next was the actual parts I bought from Ferrari Maranello. So we've got the 2 bearings, in and outer bearing there. We've got some clips that for the price of them, I get them just in case. A couple of pounds there. Obviously our replacement nut, and again I bought that as well so I could manufacture the tool before actually addressing that on the car. And obviously I will need some grease. And I think that was it really. So my total spend is just over, so that was from Maranello, around about £100, and so my total spend is £209 on the parts and tools, special tools. Now bearing in mind I get to keep all those tools. I don't think that's bad if this fixes the problem. So we're finally back at the car. I've got all the tools with me. It's been snowing here, so I've had to put off this job for a few days. It's all starting to melt now, so that's great. So I'm going to jack the car up, get the wheel off, and get to it. That was easy enough. Okay, so that's the first one off, big pulley. Not a bad job at all. Okay, so you can see I encountered a bit of a problem there trying to get the nut off. Didn't matter how much force I put on that impact wrench, that wasn't moving a millimetre. I went old school. I tried it with a screwdriver in one of the 4 notches and gave it some brute force, but again, nothing at all. So rather than panic, I've gone away, done some research. It appears that I am not the only one who has faced this problem with those nuts, getting those off. Thanks for your advice and input on that. Again, really helps me on this. So general consensus is I think it's going to need to be cut off. My problem there is I don't want to damage the shaft. I don't want to damage the thread on that shaft at all, because obviously that's going through the engine. At the moment, I'm hoping that by changing a bearing or something like that, we might be able to fix it. If we can get this nut off, we should be able to tell that. So we're going to try and cut it. We're going to use a Dremel tool with a cutting disc and some metal chisels, and hopefully, taking my time, I can just cut away a section of that, chisel the last bit off and get the nut out. So let's crack on. It's due to rain today, so who knows how long I've got. Okay, we're making progress with the metal chisel and a bit of Dremel to start with. We've managed to shear that nut. Let's try and get that off. And there it is, that is the nut off. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and I need to remove the belt now so I can pull that pulley. Let's try and give you a look at what's happening with this pulley. As you can see, there's quite a bit of movement with that, and that's worrying. So I can't pull it off myself by hand, so I'm gonna have to get a puller on that one. So I had to modify my bearing puller in order to get the little jaws clamped behind the pulley, because there's hardly any space there at all. Now, started to pull it, some ball bearings coming out. So I'm hoping this is a good sign and not a really bad sign. Yay. Okay, so that is our bearing off. The face of it got bent slightly, but I'll just knock that back into place. Otherwise it doesn't look too bad. Now, okay, and here we are. There's my shaft, and there. Face of a bearing. Not looking too pretty in there, so let's have a look, see what we got. So you can see this is pretty mesh. Look at this. This is all in here. Oh, that's come out now. That was in there. Getting all the bearings out as well, the ball bearings. Okay, start taking it apart. Everything on this job is proving to be a nightmare. Getting the circlip off was really difficult. Got some spares though, luckily. So I'm just putting this bearing puller in place now. The only bonus was it had no face on the bearing, so I didn't have to drill that off. And we're going to pull that and do a bit more investigation. Quick update, we're trying to get the bearing out. It's really tight in there. Can't get it to budge at all at the moment. Got the small bearing puller. As you can see, most of the ball bearings are actually, they've just come out. So I've got 3 left in there, but you can see this one's seized. And every time I put the bearing puller arms in, for these things, they just pop out. Yeah, one side just pops out. So I'm going to keep trying, keep persevering. And there you go, the bearing is finally starting to come out. I was literally about to give up on this today. Everything I was trying was not working. But there you go, moral of the story, perseverance, keep trying. Anyway, I'll get it out and we'll take a look what's next. There you go, the outer casing is now out from the engine block. I'm just keeping the tool on because there is nothing holding that inner bearing in place now, and or the inner sleeve. So I'm using the tool to see if I can still get that inner sleeve off of the shaft here, because it's still very, very tight. So I'm just hoping it all comes off if I keep doing it in one piece. There you go. And there you go, that's finally just all come apart. So our inner part of the bearing, pretty knackered. So outer bit, that's shot to pieces. Now, question is, look in there, load more stuff. So I'm going to investigate that with some light. So the next bit in, I don't know if you can see, that is also shot to pieces. The bottom bit's all missing completely. That is our oil seal. So here's my new one, my replacement. Like I say, I've got everything on that shaft, inner bearing the lot. I doubt I'll be able to ever get to the inner bearing from this side, but if we can replace this and the outer, I've even got the little woodruff key there as well that goes in, like this one. Again, everything on this shaft I think had been vibrating around so badly it was sea solid, so even getting the key out was a nightmare on this job. So let me see if I can get that oil seal out, and I think we'll take it from there really. So that's one oil seal out of the car. Let's dig deeper. Okay, so next dilemma is I have taken the oil seal off, finally got that out as well. Bearings out. Now this, so everything's out. I can't get the inner bearing out. There's no way without taking the engine apart. So this is my next dilemma. I have movement, in and out movement of that shaft. Very slight bit of movement there, but that will probably be taken care of with the bearing. So that seems strange. Now, if obviously putting new stuff back in, pulley on the front, new nut, it'll probably stop it going in, but that can't be right. Anyway, I think also the problem I've got is the bearings and the oil seal I picked up from Maranello. I've got the wrong size. They do two size. The engine's changed halfway through, and I've got the larger size. I need to change those for the smaller ones. So I'll be going back to do that. Anyway, let me keep having a look and doing some research on this to find out what's going on. Okay guys, so I'm going to wrap this one up for today. The best way I'm finding of doing this is not to rush it, take my time, get the right tools, do the right research. So I'm going to research whether or not that shaft should move. It makes no difference at the moment anyway. I need to go and change the bearings and everything from the smaller size ones that I need. I've just found this as well, which I was worried about. This is the inner part of the oil seal. Somehow that had got out of the car and onto the floor while I was doing the job, so that's good because I was a bit worried about that. So I will wrap it up. If you know the answers to that question, obviously contact me or leave a message below, comment below. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hope you enjoy it, and ciao for now.